Howdy everyone, welcome to a little bonus video I decided to compile on the side while I'm currently making my Earthbound video. I noticed something interesting. You see, the Forgotten Man, also known as the Eggman or just Man in Deltarune, is a mysterious figure. Now he seems to exist only to Kris specifically, with his eggs sort of behaving odd. You see, the Forgotten Man is someone that apparently Kris has seen multiple times before, and especially in the light world specifically, but has forgotten them many times over. You see, Kris, we don't exactly know the relation between Kris and the Eggman. However, whenever Kris interacts with this Eggman, specifically in the light world, he is waving happily to them. Now, considering the Forgotten Man's emphasis on being forgotten, one must take into consideration that he may be Gaster or perhaps a Goner. However, I believe that this is untrue. I believe the Forgotten Man is something much rarer and much more unspoken of in the Deltarune community. What if the Forgotten Man is... Hear me out here, guys. What if the Forgotten Man is Kris's father? Now, specifically the fact that the Eggman is always spotted waving happily to Kris, and the fact that the Forgotten Man seems to be forgotten, much like Kris has sort of forgotten their previous life before moving to hometown. You see, an important thing to take into consideration is that the Eggman is only seen while a piano melody is playing. Note how closely intertwined Kris and pianos are, and also when Kris is all alone. So really we only have Kris to rely on as the narrator here. We don't have Susie or Rouse to react to things. Now, when you inspect the tree, it says that he is behind it. Now, the question is, who is he? Well, that's the Forgotten Man. And it says that he is offering something. And if you take the offer, he gives you an egg. Now, that's about it. You later will place the egg in Asgore's fridge and la-da-da-da-da. Now let's move on to Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, the tree room is basically identical with the whole piano thing all over again and the tree in the background. And when examining the spot and, behind the tree, the Forgotten Man will offer another egg to Kris. However, once it is taken, the Forgotten Man ceases to exist again. And the problem is that whenever you look at it again, it says that there was not a man here. However, that doesn't really make sense because you are holding evidence of there being a man there. You have an egg in your hand. I mean, you can check the inventory, you can see the egg, but now let's get on to Chapter 3 where it gets really juicy for the evidence. You see, in Man Country, there is something very interesting. Here there is actual dialogue from the Forgotten Man. This really hasn't been seen before yet, and now we actually get to sort of talk to him in a way. You see, in Man Country, Kris is in their normal overworld costume. Costume, really? I mean, outfit. I think it's just their normal day clothes. Though, you see, the Forgotten Man will finally say at least something. He will say, ahem, well, spring changed to summer, and summer changed to cold. And sure enough, I am the Forgotten Man. Will you forget me too? If you answer yes, of course, that means forgetting him. It says, who are you talking to? Which sort of cuts off the sequence. You have to go back and redo it all again. And then if you answer no, which continues the conversation, because you will not forget him now, he says, are you sure? You have forgotten me many times before. Even if you meet me, I will be forgotten thereafter. Sometimes I even forget myself. I ask again, will you forget me? If you answer no again, then it'll say, you remember me? Well, in that case, no shame in an egg. You're very opinionated. I like you. You may forget me, I may forget myself, but I will remember your kindness. Now, this island will disperse, soon must depart. And if you ask if you will meet him again, he will say, if you will it, we shall meet again at that place. 11 hours, 11 years. Deltarune will be waiting. Take your time. Watch your face. Now that to me is kind of arguably a bit, odd, I think, because that really doesn't match any normal dialogue that you can get in the game. I doubt many people are going to be saying, yes, watch your face. What's so important about Kris's face? I mean, I don't really know here. So that brings us to Chapter 4, where, well, inspecting the entryway doors of the diner, says a customer in the back notices you. He holds up a takeout box and taps it happily. Now, where you find the Forgotten Man in Chapter 4 is equally odd to the fact that you find the Forgotten Man in Man Country in Chapter 3. In Chapter 4, you find the Forgotten Man, or Eggman, or whatever you want to call him. You find him in what looks to be sort of like the hospital in Hometown, and this is outside the second sanctuary, which is kind of odd considering the fact that when you are in this room, you're still in your Dark World attire, which is, I know, kind of weird that you're in Dark World attire when you are in a place that looks a lot like the Light World. But nevertheless, I would like to now talk about the fact that before you can actually enter the room, there's a guy outside it, and if you interact with him, he will say, well, he won't say, he will ask if you, Kris, are here for art club, which from there, you must interact with the Eggman, so a second canvas will appear. From there, what you do is you have Kris interact with the canvas. As a result, Kris will try to sketch what they saw behind the tree. They'll try to sketch the Eggman, but at the end of the day, due to repeated errors and whatnot, what's basically made is just a giant scribbly mess. You can't really interpret anything of it. Kris will take an egg from the other easel, or eisel. Wait, how do you even say that? Easel? Whatever, I'm not trying to do that now. I'm too tired for this. Now, Chapter 5, as like everything else in Chapter 5, Chapter 5's Egg Room is basically almost a complete duplicate of Chapter 1's with the same, yes and no, except this time you can ask for more, and when you do, if you have collected all the eggs, the Eggman will simply, hold out an empty palm and then will wave goodbye, which sort of signals that I guess there is no more to give, and so this will be the last time that you'll ever see the Forgotten Man. Now, where am I connecting Earthbound to this? You see, in Mother 1, or Earthbound Beginnings, or whatever the hell you want to call that, wonderful mess of a game that has a better story than 2 or 3, and also worse gameplay than either of them too, but I mean, hey, it's an 8-bit NES game, what do you really want from it? You see, in Magic Hands, there is a certain Forgotten Man stuck in a wall who you really just can't see. And that would be, the father of the antagonist, Geeg. Well, the adopted father anyway, the sort of hostage adopted father of Geeg the alien, who later becomes Gygus. And the interesting thing about that is he is also known as a Forgotten Man, and he is, forgotten because of the fact that George, that's his actual name, by the way, he is a memory of George who escaped back to Earth after stealing the alien secrets of psychokinesis or psionics, or whatever you want to call it. This was a sort of betrayal to Geeg, who had seen, George as a father, just like how he had seen his other, hostage parent, Maria, as his mother. And this is in Magic Hand, which in Earthbound Beginnings is sort of property of Maria, who is, technically Queen Mary, who is sort of Maria's, dying, fading conscience that's just sort of left to Magic Hand so she wouldn't die. I'm a bit confused on how she got there, actually. I forget. I don't know if that's ever talked about. But anyway, in the slowly fading recesses of Maria's mind, you have the Forgotten Man, George. And that's basically what she remembers of him, a slowly fading man who she has forgotten over and over and over again, and when you interact with him in Earthbound Beginnings, you sort of have to go through a similar yes-no loop all over, which kind of had me stuck for a little bit. But, I mean, whatever. And after that, George sort of, fades away, the Forgotten Man fades away, and the area in the wall that he was blocking off is sort of also, I guess, now open for you to walk through. Now, what the Forgotten Man himself said is very reminiscent of the Forgotten Man or Eggman in Undertale, and that is, I am a man who does not exist. You talk so kindly. I don't know what to do. If I miss people, I cannot live alone anymore. My conversation is always a monologue. I've been alone since the moment I was born. Lucky, unlucky, it makes no difference to me. Sometimes even breathing becomes too much. Why do you insist on talking to me? Are you a forgotten man too? From there you must say, no. And then the response you get is, that's right. That is right, right? Go ahead and ignore me like everyone else. To this you must say yes, from which the response you will get is, that's right. Thank you. Before he fades away and is sort of never seen again. So yeah, ain't that pretty interesting? Another character who is a forgotten man and is trapped in the yes-no cycle. What if, in this scenario, Kris is meant to be sort of the child, and kind of like how Geeg forgot George, who specifically is really never talked about by Geeg in his battle. I mean, if you sing Maria's lullaby, he just gets, pissed at you for singing his adopted mother's lullaby, who died, years ago in his mind, or just, no-clipped into magic hands. Seriously, there's something very missing there that I must have forgotten or something. But anyway, yeah, I somehow forgot it, even though I just completed my run of Earthbound Beginnings 5 days ago. Great. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. What if Kris is meant to be the geek in this scenario and now is forgetting their father in a way, like their original birth father, not Asgore, and perhaps the whole search in Man Country is because Kris, for some reason, still wants to find out what happened to their parents, why they were, left all alone, why they were adopted by the Dreamers. Now, I know Kris is sort of uncomfortable with humans in general, as seen with the, How to Raise a Human book in the library, but hey, I mean, what if Kris literally just doesn't not know what happened to their parents? I mean, Kris obviously does have problems with memories and whatnot. Kris obviously has had trauma of some sort in their past. And I would sort of like to think that, in a way, the Forgotten Man is sort of Kris's way of dealing with the fact that they will never see or know their birth parents, or see them again, and this is sort of their way of coming to terms with it. Now, I know that this is a shorter bonus video, and so that's about it, guys, and have a great day, all.